And I have no idea why my nose is red. Hi, everybody. I'm apparently Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer today, and I have no idea why. But today we are going to be talking about Lower Decks, Season 4, Episode 3, The Crescent of Vexilon, in which our intrepid explorers meet a ring,
I
and
mean,
ancient technology, and Bradward Boimler has a breakdown.
a whole breakdown.
Like a whole ass breakdown. Um, so yeah, that's where we're going. And I certainly hope all of you join us. I am joined, obviously, by the amazing William Wofford. And I'm just going to move along home with that beautiful bean footage. I get so excited for the beautiful bean footage all the time.
It never tires me,
Mm-mm.
and it's been 2 years now.
Uh, oh my God.
Next month.
Where does the time go?
And it's like we haven't met in person yet, but if we did, I guarantee there will be a lot of shed tears and a big hug.
I mean, we're all family. Let's be real.
At
I
this
mean,
point,
sometimes it's a functional family, and sometimes it's not so much. So it's as much like a regular family as I think we can get.
yeah,
Um, but before we gush, because we are going to have an anniversary special, because of course we are.
we are. We
Yeah,
have a studio now.
because of course we do. I'm going to manifest that. We are going to talk about the Crescent of Vexilon. So, which one of us wants to do this plot summary?
Okay, so let's just take turns. Oh look, there's the cat. So I don't know any of these people's names.
Marco!
Oh, Marco, Polo.
Also, can we talk about the fact that Marco has demonstrated that, Funko Pops now let you pop yourself? Like, you can make your own, like, individual Funko Pop. I need this in my life now.
Tell me something I don't know.
I need this in my life. So yes. Plot summary. Do you want to do it or do I?
So basically they come down on this planet. Hey, Cole. How's it going? That's my friend. He's really, really cool. Okay.
I mean, he's your friend, obviously. I gotta tell you, William, I'm not hearing you.
How about now?
There you
go. Okay. You can still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
You truly did, and we are going to talk about how you're going to help me pop myself. I'm just saying. All right, back to Star Trek. I swear. I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
So basically, they come down on this planet and they're doing their usual second contact routine mission, blase, blase, blase. And basically their little Halo. Also, can we talk about the fact that this whole disc just reminds you of Halo, like the game? At least because I had a friend named Nick who watched this with me, and he said that it totally reminded him of Halo. Me, it reminded me of Interstellar. That whole thing when they figured out gravity, and then this whole thing is this disc-shaped thing, and now all looks, and I'm sure, it's a thing. Well, anyway, they
Yeah,
come down.
inside this Halo though, there's a lot of really like old school science fiction that has, these are like artificially created worlds, and some of them are ring worlds. In fact, that would be the name of the series.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But yeah,
And
so this ring world was created, millions of years ago.
mhm.
The people with terrible, terrible outfits live there and take it away.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, well, meanwhile, back on the ship, they're not so keen on doing lieutenant duties, okay? Like they're really thinking this whole thing is a joke because apparently they have to scan thousands of isolinear chips. Now, of course, Data could do it in a blur, but they have to scan each and every single one because apparently there's one faulty one. Now they think it's a whole joke because they all just got promoted to as a lieutenant junior. Is that it?
Lieutenant Junior grade.
All right, lieutenant junior grade. So that's what they were all promoted to, and so they're thinking this whole thing is a joke. When oh, hey Keith, what's up?
Hey, Will. You
Okay.
anyone here?
Marie's here.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
No. William is the only one here. I'm just a figment of everyone's imagination.
I mean,
But
naturally,
you're a good figment. We like you being a figment of our
I
imagination.
would like it because this figment was just funny. It was absolutely hilarious. But also, Marie, quick question: was this a Betazoid thing?
Yes. Season 1, I believe.
Yep. Haven.
Deanna Troy is actually gifted with one of these terrible talking boxes. And fun fact, it's actually Armin Shimerman's first appearance in Star Trek. He's the face on the box, and it's literally the gift box that contains all of effectively the bride gifts.
You mean Quark?
Yeah, well, Armin Shimerman.
Actually, that would go on to play Quark. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is before Ferengi were a thing. So that's a reference to very, very early TNG where Deanna was betrothed to this random dude, and so his family sends this traditional creepy Betazoid talking box. And Deanna's like, "Oh shit, I have to get married now." And it turns out that her betrothed ends up going off with like these implagued people. So she sidesteps neatly the whole marriage thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was conveniently dreaming of this blonde woman that he had never met, and then she showed up.
Right? Right? And he just happened to be a doctor that could help them cure their plague.
Yep. And the captain's chair on their ship then turned up in worst quarters for the rest of the series.
Oh my.
Yeah, no, it was that amazing. It was that amazing funky chair.
Yes.
That was ridiculously expensive. That was like a legitimate designer chair.
Mm-hmm.
That was a whole chair. It's the chair for me.
And I gotta tell you, I don't know how anybody who is even a little bit shorter than Michael Dorn could have gotten into that thing. Because Michael Dorn is a huge man. Like,
yes,
I mean, can we talk about it?
I mean, okay, so maybe not for William and Keith, who were both themselves tall, but for 5'4" Marie Brownhill, he was enormous.
Not to mention Jonathan Frakes, but we're gonna get into that whole story at the end of
All
this.
right, we got to get through this plot summary again. Come on, guys, we can hold it together. We can hold it together.
In you.
I'm gonna hold it together. So basically, as we're going back and forth between A plot and B plot, we're back on the planet, and basically, the atmospheric million-year-old computer is broken because no one decided to update it. And you know what happens when you try to update your iPhone? All hell breaks loose. It just does not work right. And that's exactly what Captain Freeman tried to do, and it just didn't work out right. So everything just started going berserk to the point where plot started to cross over, and we start to see Boimler's first, I guess you can call it his first command. Is that a proper way to put it?
Yep.
Okay. First command on his first away team, and he's pretty much trying to hold it together, but he's such a perfectionist, and not to mention how scared he is, that basically he tries to take matters into his own hands, and it doesn't really go that well because he's trying to do everything on his own, but he's not really trusting his crew because he's like, oh my God, we're actually detonating like a big building bomb. And Vulcan's like, well, yeah. You know about this, right? Like it's in the mission parameters, blah 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 blah. Come on.
Yeah.
Ditto, Colton. I mean, is there possibly like a way we can set up like a fan service for her? Like, I mean, seriously.
Yeah. And so they managed to put everything back together after all hell breaking loose temporarily, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and at the very end of the lower decks or lieutenant junior grade lower decks shift, we come to find out after pranks and isolinear chips and a boohoo baha story that it was all a setup and there was nothing really wrong. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Can we also talk about the fact that they have an anomaly storage room on the Cerritos? Because that sounds safe.
Well, they dealt with that in season 1, where they were going around and cleaning up all the anomalous stuff from senior.
I know. It doesn't make it any more of a good idea in season 4.
That's good.
I mean, learn from your mistakes, my dudes, but no. And let's also talk about the fact that they have a copy of the Wadi Nightmare game.
Yes, from what is by far the worst episode of Deep Space Nine. Well, actually, no, there's a close tie. There's also Prophet and Lace, but we don't talk about Prophet and Lace.
Most annoying.
I'm sorry,
Excuse
Marie.
me.
I'm sorry, Marie.
Excuse me. You missed it, man. Last time when you weren't here, I did a full-on William.
Was this last week?
It was. I thought Jermaine was gonna die. It was great.
Oh, perfect. Because when he falls out of his chair, that means you got him. Or
I mean, that's a good episode when Jermaine falls out of his chair. But yes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we actually had a number of really great, like the anomaly closet was great for Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm. Well, and plus Lower Decks has gotten to the point where it's been long enough that it can now do Easter eggs to itself. So it's not just Easter eggs to Newt, Trek, and TNG, DS9, but to itself, even with the koala and the Dark Mountain.
Yes.
Oh, and died.
We were going to talk about Boimler's post-death vision.
He died.
Yeah, he died.
Because the whole universe is balanced on the back of a giant koala.
Yeah. Why is he smiling? What does he know?
So many things.
But that's by far the best Star Trek line I've ever heard in my life.
I do really love the fact that the koala just keeps coming back as a running gag. Because I love how self-aware Lower Decks is.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that they brought the koala to Strange New Worlds as well.
I know. It's nice though because Lower Deck spends a lot of time breaking the fourth wall, but it does it in such a way that we're invited to be part of the joke,
right?
Rather than the butt of it, which is really nice because that's not always true. And I think my favorite example of nerds actually being the butt of the joke is The Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
Because we as the audience are meant to identify with Kaylee Cuoco's character. We're not meant to identify with Raj or Wolowitz or Sheldon or any of these other characters. Right. Because Kaylee Cuoco is just definitively normal. And so it's really not a nice look at fandom culture and nerd culture. So to have something like Lower Decks that pokes fun at Star Trek while also loving Star Trek is great.
It definitely carries on the spirit of Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
Being the love letter to fans as well as the very thing that you're lampooning.
Yes. It's because we love it so much that we can laugh at it.
Mm-hmm. And when those jokes can be, oh, I remember that thing, and oh, that was awful.
Yeah, because let's be real, the Troy marriage episode was not great.
No.
Oh, and she was forced to marry?
No, she was not actually. Remember he found like his implagued blonde girlfriend.
Yeah, he had visions of her, and she suddenly their ship came up on them. But that was the first first time we got to meet Loxana Troy and
Yep.
Mr. Han as well.
Yep.
And I remember watching that episode when it was new because I'm
Marriage
old.
didn't happen.
Shh. Shh. I'm telling you, like Siri, my cat just judged you and left because we do not mention the O word in this house.
I'm used to cats judging me, so that's fine.
I mean, they're cats.
Yeah.
Nothing but judge.
Mhm.
True. So
By
yeah.
the way, did you wish a happy birthday to Jermaine?
Not yet. Well, I did in person. Well, in person, but like, yes, it is happy birthday to our founder, Jermaine.
Founder! Yay!
Right? So happy birthday, Jermaine. We are certainly hoping that it has been a wonderful one.
Mm-hmm.
So is it today?
Yes.
Today, yes.
I'm gonna call him.
Why?
Not right now.
I'm just gonna put him on speaker. Tell him happy birthday.
He could be here if he wanted to be here. He's celebrating his birthday. Let him be.
Okay. Probably turning up somewhere with a couple of girlfriends and a couple of shots of Romulan ale.
Sure.
I've always wondered, how does one shoot Romulan ale? Ales aren't generally shootable, but I guess maybe they are in Star Trek. Who knows? So yeah, let's talk a little bit about like this idea of hazing. Because that's certainly the B plot, right? Is this idea that I don't remember this blonde guy's name. Do you?
Oh God. Can we call him Dave?
I mean, I'm gonna call him the minion.
Okay.
So the minion like assigns them this thankless, miserable task, and then like so they have to go scan these ships by hand, which is ridiculous. And then, of course, he comes back and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I know you've been trying to avoid like breathing the nitrogen gas and also getting scorched by the chips, but you know there was a secret button and there's a second layer of them, right? It's egregious."
Lieutenant Dirk.
There we go. And so, so Dirk is aware that this is ridiculous, and of course, the ferret is running wild,
Yes.
making it that much more difficult. And Tendi seizes on this, right? Like she's like, "This has got to be hazing," because you know, on Orion, pirates get hazed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really. I'm a little concerned about their methods of hazing because licking the door sounds just like terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sure, they're Orion. Who knows? But there's so many ways in which Tendi is always the one who's going to see through the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And she sees through the nonsense not in spite of her difference, but because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then she loses it in like this whole myth of too much character in Starfleet, which I find fascinating actually, because one of the things that Strange New Worlds and Picard's final season or Picard's first season and have dealt with is this concept of the reality of the institution versus the ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In the sense that, you know, Starfleet isn't always perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It gets away with a lot of nonsense because we have in our minds this image of the perfection of Starfleet's goals, but it doesn't always live up to it. And this is a really great way to poke fun of that in that same sort of loving manner.
Yeah. More like this and less like Insurrection. Yeah. I know.
I will say, I've seen many different hazing techniques. All of them are generally nasty.
Yes.
It makes me not want to know what Klingon hazing is if this is Federation hazing.
We know what Klingon hazing is. We had an entire Riker episode about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
we even had it here on Lower Decks.
Yep.
Wage douche.
I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I've been thinking of hazing a lot lately with the Barbie movie coming out. I remember there's a person I worked scout staff with who was in a fraternity in college, and he was in charge of dealing with the pledges. And for the pledge week, they had to live in the basement of the frat house and they were giving them all kinds of menial tasks. But here was the genuine torturous thing was each day was they had their gift of music. They had one song that would play over and over and over again for 24 hours. Barbie World was one of them. Yeah. So each day was a different song, but yeah, that was one of them.
So hazing is one of those things that was initially like meant to be meant to be one of those activities that creates bonds between people, right? Like this idea that you were suffering together. I think it's nonsense.
Yeah. Right.
But it's still actually incorporated into a lot of our institutions. For example, I would argue that a lot of basic training is based in hazing principles.
Yeah. You see in the movie Jarhead, where they had the hazing they acted as if they were branding the new recruits to the Marine Corps, but it turned out it was a fake out, and that they could only get the branding when they eventually earned it. But literally branding a person's skin with hot iron. Yeah.
So I will tell you, there's a lot of crazy stuff like that in the military. Like, for example, like when you get pinned with various things, people will slam the pins into you to try to make you bleed.
Yeah.
Because it's fun.
They did a lot of hazing when I was in Boy Scouts, like a lot. Like I couldn't even become an Eagle Scout unless I was hazed at least 5 times. Each was.
I mean, yeah. Because I think they've definitely, like, Colton's correct. Like, there have been some changes to how basic training is done. Drill sergeants are now, they don't quite have the carte blanche that they used to. But yeah, like, I mean, there's a lot of this concept that, you have to, like, as a group, in order to form this kind of cohesion, that you have to suffer the same things, that you have to, like, fight against this outside force. And I've never quite.
It's like they're trying to force trauma bonding on you.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And I think a certain amount of, like, harmless hazing is fine. And I want to stress that it needs to be harmless. Like, for example, when I was pledging 1.5 million years ago, we had to wear pledge beads. That was it. That was the hazing.
That's it?
Yep. And they were the colors of the sorority. They were like they were big plastic beads. I guess they were supposed to be embarrassing. I didn't find them, so it just identified you as being a part of a certain pledge class. And I thought that identification was actually much more effective than suffering.
I have a question. Let me get Jason in.
Hey.
Jason!
Hey, everybody, what's going on?
And Colton, maybe you can chime in on this too. So we see that hazing has happened to Mariner, Tindy, and Rutherford, and that's like this.
To be fair, Colton, infantry is hazing.
Yeah,
all of it. Or I'm sorry, infantry.
It really is. Not that I experienced it.
My ex-husband started as infantry, actually. So he definitely did Sand Hill.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of fun that they did some, like, Starfleet hazing, and they put that in there, because you can't put something like that on a real Star Trek show. That's why Lower Decks is fun.
I mean, Lower Decks is probably nothing but now we got like mid-Lower Decks at this point. So we see hazing at this point, and we see like an actual mission here, but they both provide the same result. Why don't they just provide missions like with Boimler rather than just get them to scan a bunch of isolinear chips?
Because Ransom's the one who tells us. Ransom tells us that they're enjoying doing crazy stuff to these new lieutenants.
Right. I gotta say though, I'm kind of not happy about them getting promotion. It's the sort of the thing it's like
4 years.
It's like the one thing, the thing you can control in a cartoon is like if you have somebody that's 9 years old, they get to be 9 years old for 20 years. They never have to grow up. So you don't have to They're no longer lower decks. They're
And
lower
everybody, William has discovered sound effects.
I see there.
Yay.
You know,
DJ Khaled.
I have to say I disagree with you, Jason. I like the fact that we're getting some growth because that's one of the frustrating things with Harry Kim, right? Is that Harry Kim never got a chance. I mean, we never got a chance to see Harry Kim develop into anything else.
Yeah.
Right, but
And in Lower Decks, like that's kind of the whole point of Lower Decks is that these characters are learning, changing, and growing as they go through the process of being ensigns. Now they're going to be lieutenants, junior grade. After that, they're going to be lieutenants. You know, that's the point. That's the point of going through these ranks is that you get better at your job. You learn things. You mature. You find better ways to do things.
And considering most of Star Trek, we've seen that progression, except Harry Kim being mainly the exception. Because like even like Next Generation, you saw Worf and Geordi both go from lieutenant junior grade to lieutenant commander. It just took Worf a movie to get there, but Geordi got it much faster. Well, but then Data was stuck as lieutenant commander the whole time. But he even explained that as because of him being an android, it was more a time put in rather than any. Because it would to be expected that he perform at a certain level, the things that would get other people promoted.
Yeah.
And there was also some question about whether or not he would be able to command.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a pretty good look at that. It was during the training exercise, whatever episode that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember that. But yeah, even Troy, we saw her go from lieutenant commander to commander.
Yeah.
And I mean, if the last Next Generation movie that shall not be named, if we would have actually seen the transfer of command of Riker moving on to the Titan, we would have probably seen Data getting his commander's pick. Yeah.
So that's actually one of the things I like about Star Trek is that we are not dealing with static characters.
Mm-hmm.
This is not The Simpsons.
Yes.
We're not hitting that. We are not hitting a magic reset button for everything, and I think that's extremely important and because it keeps in line with not only the culture that's been established through the franchise, but also because, quite frankly, Star Trek is about advancement.
Mm-hmm. Right, you're not earning money. This is your advancement. You're learning. You're growing. Is what you get out of it. So.
And that's honestly what we're supposed to be doing in real life. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of, yearly raises is, like you've been around another year. Like you were supposed to have.
You're supposed to get that 3%.
Yep.
Yeah.
All I know was 50 cents.
That's where the American system is broken.
Yes.
Right.
So how do we feel about how Boimler handled this situation and his character development?
Well, I think T'Lyn got into his head a bit there with the whole, the high chance of death on the first mission of a recently promoted commander.
Being a total.
That's just a Vulcan. That's just a Vulcan for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, but I honestly think that would have happened to Boimler anyway.
Yeah.
Right, because this is also a pretty typical. This is a pretty typical situation where, like, he is a recently promoted lieutenant junior grade. He's worked with these people before as peers, and so he gets lost in his head. And I think a lot of new leaders do that.
I know I personally went through that in newspaper staff and other situations where I basically was like, okay, I know I could probably trust people to do this right, but I'm just going to do it myself because I know how I want it to be done, and I don't want to feel like I'm pushing people to do things my way, so I'll just go ahead and do it.
And that's
first of all, if there's something that you're about to do and you can blow up everybody in the building, I think somebody should point that out. And you got to be a big boy, put on your big boy pants and accept that, and it was just too much for him. So he's like, well, I got to do it then. I don't want anybody else to do it and blow everybody up.
Yeah, but I think that's the point, right? His inability to delegate, his inability to trust the people that he's working with, almost got them all killed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of and that's again one of the big themes in Trek, right? Is this concept of collective action. We have to work with other people in furtherance of our goals, or we die.
Mhm.
I did notice that in the beginning, like season 1 and 2, Boimler was definitely afraid for his own life, and then now this one, he's more so afraid for their lives, which it's like a little bit of progression, but he still has some work to do.
That is growth
of his life.
Yeah, he's matured, definitely.
Right. I mean, it's gone from this very sort of childish, as you say, childish sort of self-obsession to being able to externalize that and recognize that your decisions impact other people.
Yeah.
I have to say, I do understand what he's going through, though, because as a manager, as a person that did a lot of hands-on working and then managing people, it's still hard for me not to put my hands on things. But they have rules in place that help me remember that I'm not supposed to. But sometimes you really want to just do things yourself.
I mean,
and not
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna do it because I know how I want it to be done.
Right.
I will say, when it comes to me and my crew, it's very hard for me to keep my hands to myself, like in terms of like how to work this camera, but I have to trust.
Maybe don't say it that way.
Your hands to yourself?
Right.
Maybe
what
don't.
Does your crew look
no,
like?
Okay, because they're both handling cameras. Right? Shut up, Jason. Like,
you literally said, keep my hands to myself. I'm sorry.
Girl,
Sideways person there?
So yes, so yes, like it's very hard to watch somebody, and I definitely find that as a parent, right? Like I'm watching the boys learn how to do things, and I know that I can do it faster, and so it's very hard for me to step back and let them do it.
Yeah,
and they have to, because how else are they going to learn?
Yeah, I'm really well. I don't have my own kids, but I guess it's easier for me to do it with other people's kids. but I'm always the one like, no, let them do it. No, let them do it. Nope.
it's easier being the uncle.
I guess so.
But it really is a good lesson to learn, because I mean, again, like, how are we going to learn if we don't do?
Mm-hmm.
And T'Lyn is kind of making that point to Boimler. She's like, you are preventing them from growing.
Right.
Also, T'Lyn is like the best.
All right, boys and girls, I got to go. I'm
All
trying
right.
to get out of here. I've been here for, let's see, 13 hours so far. So.
Oh, so it's a short day for you.
It's a short day, yeah.
Hey, it was really great to see you, though.
Yeah.
Yes, you as well. And keep trekking on.
Sounds good.
That's terrible.
Hi, Jason.
Yeah.
I did like seeing Boimler paired with T'Lyn, and them still being able to work out the B storyline, having the other three main characters together.
Because I've never seen them together before.
Well, this is only the third episode of T'Lyn being part of the Cerritos crew, and and in the first episode, it was her very close with Tendi.
Mm-hmm.
And
also, I have to admit, I really like seeing Mariner working with Tendi and Rutherford, which is not something that happens.
Right.
And, they managed to make it work.
Do you think Rutherford hasn't heard of what hazing is because of his memory issues, or because he's just that lucky?
Well, I mean, he was a total bad boy, like, before his memories erased, so maybe it's already a part of him.
I think Rutherford's original personality was doing the hazing.
Well, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
I don't see. So as a result, like so I think it's a memory issue, because when they recreated this personality, they probably just elided those memories.
Because I think the season finale of season 3 was when Rutherford's memories came back, right?
It was earlier than that in season 3.
Yeah, but yes, I mean, so he got some of them back, but like the personality changes remained.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, any favorite parts or Easter eggs that we might have missed?
Does anybody remember the spider? Like, what was the spider?
I don't think that was something that we seen. I think that's just one of the things he created for this, because it can't all be references to past Trek. It's got to
Also,
be.
I have to admit, I love the fact that Carol Freeman like apparently minored in archaic technology.
Yeah.
That's the fact that that's an available minor just makes me
I
happy.
literally dropped my jaw and I'm going like, I don't care if you are a captain. You expect me to trust you?
I defy you to tell that woman that you don't trust her to do it.
I don't, because when she tried to update it, you saw what happened. It's like updating Control. You can't update 100,000-year-old machine. Like,
also, Colton is right. Can we talk about Lancelot for a second? Because of effing course, the ferret's name is Lancelot.
Yeah.
And the ferret wants nothing to do with Billups.
And hates Rutherford.
Right?
I mean, seriously, like Dirk is controlling Lancelot and having him attack Rutherford.
Lancelot's like a legitimate chaos agent, which is funny because, like, I think Lancelot could give Mariner a run for her money.
Well, considering we had the ultimate chaos agent last week in Moopsie.
I don't know.
You know, I have seen so many fan creations of Moopsie.
Yes.
Part of me desperately wants them to release a plushie of Moopsie, but like part of me also doesn't want them to, because I'm really loving like the crochet patterns that are showing up.
Well, they've tended lately with Trek to be really behind on getting good Trek merchandise. So maybe they'll just let the fans take care of this one.
You mean lately? Like
Yeah.
lately? Like the entire history of the franchise, you mean?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Moopsie
Yeah.
looks like a great Pokemon.
Well, that was the design aspect. But I can tell you, a good friend of mine who hasn't enjoyed Lower Decks, but watches it anyway, loves Moopsie. She said it took 3-4 years, but Lower Decks finally got something I love, and that is Moopsie.
I mean, Moopsie's gonna drink your bones. That shit is my nightmare fuel.
Yeah. To the 3 people that are watching, what do y'all love about Moopsie? If y'all saw that, or if you know what we're talking about. Moopsie.
I mean, Moopsie's fantastic.
How do you drink bones?
Also, did anybody else love the fact that like Vexilon blue screened?
Yes.
I mean,
great.
there was so much like IT humor going on with that.
When it went to like the E symbol, it's like the old Internet Explorer.
I know. I know. I mean, because apparently the people who make this are our age.
Yes.
Because we are not, well, not yours, Will. We know.
Well, if you ask certain people on Facebook, the people that currently make Trek hate Trek and have no idea how to make it.
What?
So they should be shoved at the nearest airlock.
Yeah.
So, wait, I forgot. We're not allowed to have strong women or black people. Right.
Yes.
Right. I'd like to tell you that's the bourbon talking, but that would be a lie.
That's going to be a sound effect. I promise.
Colton, you are completely correct, right? I want
a plushie for Moopsie, but do you want a plushie for Lancelot too?
Well,
that's such a hard question. I mean, definitely, if I have to have a choice, like if I have to choose, Moopsie.
No, of course, yeah.
Moopsie.
Moopsie wins out, yeah.
And I just don't get like why like the merch is so far behind, because there's so much merchable about Lower Deck. And about Prodigy. Can we talk about Murph?
Yeah.
Murph.
They had Murph plushies of the original Murph, not the evolved Murph, but it was fan produced. It wasn't a company. Like you would go to the conventions and they would have them, but because somebody went upon themselves to make it.
Paramount.
It's basically flubber.
Seriously, hire George Lucas just to run your merchandise, because the man knows a thing or two.
My God. And it's like they just
Don't let
assume
them write or
it's
direct
like they
anything.
assume Trek nerds have no money, and we're all like, but we do. Right? Yes. Yes.
We got money. We got money. I promise. I'm not a broke bitch anymore.
Yeah, I would show you mine, but it's not on the wall yet.
I do have my newest.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, like I truly don't understand because there's so many opportunities for like great merch, and you can look at it and be like, that would be something people would buy.
Right.
Like I remember when Next Generation launched, and they had the Next Generation toys, including the die-cast Enterprise that had the separating saucer, and I had them, and they were great. And then they just stopped making toys. Then they started making them again, and it was like any variation of the character they were making a toy for.
See that? There's a face pistol.
I mean,
Yeah.
can we talk about how he's channeling his inner Trip Tucker?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's favorite Florida man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, there's a reason Trip got pregnant. Just saying.
I am looking forward to his very short trek, which should be coming up soon.
I know. I mean, Colin Trenier seems to have really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And seems to have embraced like fandom in a very real way.
By the way, do we want to talk about the 2 episodes of very short treks that have come out since last week's episode?
I have not seen them yet, but I've seen the intro.
Okay. Because
I was doing real. I have to admit, today has been a really long day, like, and involved a lot of culting. So, like, I have not seen that.
Okay, well, last Friday it was To Skin a Cat, in which it's the crew of the Enterprise, but it's not Kirk as captain. It's someone else, voiced by comedian Pete Holmes. And it's only 4-minute long video, and I thought it was funny. Some people decided to say, "Oh, this is Trek making fun of liberals." Okay,
I'd love to see that.
The episode
are
that
these
came.
the same people who argue that Trek is rather fundamentally conservative?
I don't know, but the whole premise of it is the captain says, as they're being attacked by Klingons, that there's more than one way to skin a cat. To which Moraes goes, "Excuse you," and then he does other idioms, and it turns out there are other people on the bridge that do not like hearing such phrases used. And it keeps getting more and more extreme, almost like Little Britain's joke style, until they lean into it. And I thought it worked out pretty well.
That's
and then this week's episode is Holiday Party, in which we get the return of Hemmer. Hemmer hosting a holiday party on the Enterprise for First Contact Day. Then Spock shows off a blooper reel, in which it's not bloopers at all. It's
Spock, and no, he doesn't understand.
Yes.
Bless his heart.
and poor Horror is like, "Spock, that is not funny. But you see here where T'Pring has broken my heart. That is self-deprecating, which is humor. Ha! Blooper."
My God. Oh, that is for sure on my list of things I'm going to do tonight is watch all both of those.
They're only 4 minutes long. They're on YouTube. They're good.
They're on my list. It's just like I said, I was doing real well to get through Lower Decks today.
Yeah. I'm glad Lower Decks is only half an hour, not a full hour. It makes it a lot easier.
I was not expecting them to drop 2 episodes last week.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is when they had the animated celebration on Friday night with Star Trek Day, they showed the first episode of season 4 as if you get to see it here first. Except, no, you don't.
Right?
Yesterday.
Nope.
So it was a case of if they would have thought it through, Lower Decks should be starting this week, and that should have been the release of the first episode. But yeah.
I mean, the strike has thrown things off kilter, and
Yes.
Paramount has also been flubbing a number of content decisions.
Yeah.
Prodigy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I could not get a straightforward answer out of Jonathan Frakes when I met him.
What?
What?
Okay, so like, well, it really wasn't so much about Prodigy. I was more so asking about Legacy.
Well, I mean, they're not going to make a decision on that until the strikes are dealt with. And
I
that
know.
is consuming all
That-
the oxygen in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
I mean, half of Hollywood is turned into a Spirit Halloween store because, they can't make anything.
I gotta tell you, I love that.
Has there been any more progress?
It's about to get worse because it's about to include all video game voice artists.
Hold up.
Yep.
SAG-AFTRA is bringing the video game people in on it.
Good.
Yep.
The tea.
But the big news on the strike is the two people who crossed the line this week.
Drew Barrymore
and Bill Maher.
I love this.
Drew Barrymore decided that she said it's not right to keep the rest of her crew, the crew, from making her show, being able to work and make a living, that she's going to try to do the show without writers. And Bill Maher is saying, I won't do it. I'm bringing my show back, but it's not going to be, I'm not going to have a monologue. I'm not going to tell jokes. It's just going to be the panel discussion, which was always unscripted. Like, yes, but you're still, remember SAG-AFTRA is part of his strike too, not just the writers. You shut down because of the writers' strike, and then people tried to complain. Well, look at all the late night hosts that have been hosting their podcasts. Isn't that also crossing? No, because podcasts are not covered under the contract, and all the proceeds from that podcast are going to support the strike.
Also, can we have a brief conversation about the fact that Drew Barrymore's move was made on the basis that hers is a news show and as such not covered?
Yeah. Bill Maher can make that argument. Drew Barrymore.
Can he though?
He's in the past he's tried to make it somewhat of news and mocking the news. So, I mean, yeah.
But yeah, no. Barrymore's decision is definitively suspect.
Yeah. Yeah, as Will Wheaton said, hopefully she and Bill Maher and Ken Jennings can all get together and have a nice party on that side of the line, claiming that they didn't cross the line.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, those are really interesting situations, and we can sort of talk about and we can definitely talk about the strike because the strike has such deep connections with Star Trek. I mean, everything from Michelle Hurd to the very, very enthusiastic participation with Trek actors.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan has been out there most days. And in fact, on Star Trek Day, there were a lot of Star Trek cast members who spent Star Trek Day out on the picket line.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a very weird question? So you have a bunch of Star Trek actors and actresses and producers and such out there, and I'm sure that there are a lot of Star Trek fans out there too, or is it just the actors only?
It looks like it's a mix because I've seen some of the pictures being taken. There are definitely fans that have shown up.
Right.
And as under the terms of the strike, well, one thing that's happened, Michelle Hurd got the terms changed because she wanted to allow people to still attend conventions. Because she pointed out, you have Star Trek actors who that is how they make their living is cons.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, for example, like again, Connor Chenier, a number of.
In her final years,
Terry Farrell,
Michelle Nichols, and Walter Koenig, and George Takei. That's a lot of their income coming from cons. I mean, William, how much did you pay for your picture with Shatner and Frakes?
Can we transition into that since we got 10 minutes left?
You've been sitting on this. Good.
There's a natural transition if you ever wanted one. Go
and now for something slightly different.
Okay, so I got these guys, and it was so fucking cool. Okay, so I get there. It was a whole day. I literally had a brown heel day. Okay, it was just Via Marie. So it was just full from dawn to dusk. Okay, it was just full. Well, in the morning we were doing yard work, and then we went to go mount a TV. Then we went to Comic-Con. Then we went to an all-white dress-up party, and then we went to Club Discovery at the end of the night. I'm tired, but I made sure that I rose enough money after making sure rent was paid and stuff that I would actually go. Now, let's go through the price list of how much everything cost, okay? Yeah. Just to go on Saturday alone. Okay, now this is different. Now, let me preface this. In 2016, I met Nichelle Nichols, okay? It must have been like $20-$30 just to get in, and $50 just to have a photo with her and have a little chat with her, and that was it. Okay, this was before Discovery. This was before everything. Okay, so but she was still recognized as to a lot of fans as the mother of sci-fi. Well, when we transitioned over here, it was $50 after taxes, just to get into the Saturday day alone. Okay. Now the whole weekend was like $80. Okay, which I'm sure would have been 90, almost maybe 100 after taxes, because their taxes is not like Arkansas taxes. They'll just throw just an extra $10 and call it a day. Like, so there's that. To get at first, I was going to do 2 photos. I was going to do one photo with Jonathan Frakes and another one with William Shatner. Christopher Lloyd was also there. I had to sneak a photo with him. Look, hey, but
you understand.
Yeah. So Jonathan Frakes was going to charge $60 for his autograph and $75 for a photo with him. Uh-huh. William Shatner, however, was going to charge like $175 for the photo and $135 for the autograph. Now, I should also say, even though I missed this completely, apparently William Shatner was late, like so late that they waited until like 10, 11 o'clock Friday night just for him to show up. Otherwise, they would have had no other choice but to refund all those people's money back, because all of this was online orders that we had to do. Mm-hmm. Now, I managed to catch it a few days before that they, at the very last minute, they created like the duo, as we see here, the duo photo op. Now, for me, after taxes, it was $220. All right, so we spent $50 to get in. We got $220 just to get this photo and this photo alone, which lasts, I swear to God, it didn't last more than 10 seconds.
Nope.
Like, it was fast. Like I had a conversation with Jonathan Frakes. William Shatner, he just looked at me and smiled, and I just like,
oh, did you get the talk about how you're not supposed to talk to him unless he talks to you?
I didn't have to. I didn't even have a chance. Like, he just looked at me and smiled, and I was just like, you know what? The only reason I'm respecting this is because I'm a photographer too, so I'm gonna listen to her, but I am gonna say hi, and you're gonna like it. So, that's so $50. $220. I bought a Federation flag for $25, and it was a huge flag. I will say it's a sizable flag. I really do like it. I think it was worth the purchase. Now, at first, I was going to go home and call it a day. Like, I got my photo, whatever. Well, I was like, no.
Is this your first convention?
Second, but my first full embraced convention.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, dude, like, this is not, I mean, and that's actually pretty reasonable.
Right. Yeah. Well, in Arkansas, shit. Well, anyway, so we get to Jonathan Frakes' desk, okay? Mm-hmm. And he was doing his own little deal, because at first we were told that he wasn't going to do any selfie photo ops with your phone. Like, he wasn't going to do that. Right. But he decided at the last minute, no, I do want to do this. And so he made like a deal where, hey, for $100, I'll give you my autograph, whatever you want me to sign, and a selfie with your phone. Even I can even do voicemails or whatever short video you want me to do. And I thought that was so sweet. Oh, nice. It was awesome. Now, and I'm gonna tell you, and I really had to imagine Marie there holding my hand in this moment.
because I would have been.
When I tell you, I was channeling season 1 Boimler. When I tell you, yes. Oh my god.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh,
let me see. Seriously, are we doing our TOS autograph collection?
I got this for $10 at a comic book store in Frederick, Maryland. But signed by George Takei. If it would have been signed by both of them, I would have.
All right.
So,
this was my first one.
Oh, yeah, you got a golden one. You definitely got.
Like he came to my first convention, which was something my father had to drive me to because I didn't have a license.
Oh wow!
This was my second one.
Oh wow! Oh, you got the book.
I got a few.
Dragon Con.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes. It was beautiful.
Dragon Con.
Oh, with his cute self. Go ahead.
That was actually a gift from some friends, and I gotta say, I really wonder why Christian chose that photo.
I wonder why too.
Local convention.
By the way, today is Walter Keating's birthday.
Yeah. And he just
and the pride jewel of my collection.
Wow.
Come on, DeForest. I love it. I love it.
We are also not going to talk about my 25th anniversary Next Generation poster.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Like, I mean, we were talking earlier about how like there seems to be this assumption that Paramount has that we don't have money.
Yeah.
We clearly do.
We do. I may not have always had money.
Well,
but
I want to
see now.
The contents of this bag I got all for free. So we got the
yeah, no, did you go to the thing?
Yeah. So we got the animated celebration popcorn box because not only did they give us free merch, but you got free snacks. So I got a Lower Decks cup, the animated celebration popcorn box, the Lower Decks wristband.
Nice.
I love it.
Even the bag says Lower Decks.
See,
we were the last 4 people let in. They gave out way more tickets than there were seats. We were the last 4 they let in, and to make sure that they moved people around so we could sit together and even put.
I love that you took that, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't leaving it.
I love it.
Just so we're clear for everyone watching this podcast, we're not broke. I got $23 right here. See?
However, am broke.
And that is all that's left to his name after his.
So at the end, to answer Keith's question, that's cool. To answer Keith's question, after it was all said and done, $400. $400.
Yeah,
baby.
You definitely don't have kids.
I don't. I don't, because I am one. Like, so it was. Oh, that's so cool. Is that the? I can't tell, but is that the badgie? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Like I am deeply grieved because DragonCon this year featured a number of the Strange New Worlds cast. It was Celia Rose Gooding. It was Anson Mount. Although I still feel really conflicted on the idea of asking Anson Mount for his autograph. And Ethan Peck, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I will say, and maybe y'all have said this or someone else said this to me, but William Shatner does not come to Arkansas or the South, for the mind you.
I met him at DragonCon twice.
Right, and so that's why I was wanting to ask you about, because I've personally never heard of him come. I'm sure they've been to Dallas or something like that, but like I personally haven't heard of him coming to Arkansas, which made me give my manager over, and I don't care if he sees this, my manager over at Best Buy an ultimatum. I said, you're gonna let me have this weekend off. That's what you are gonna do. As a matter of fact, you're gonna let me have all weekends off, and if you do not, I'm gonna quit. Because I'm going and I'm gonna have a good time. Okay, it was great.
Loved it.
When I tell you, he literally had to calm me down. He said, "Hey," he said, "William, just breathe." And he said, "You said my name." And then he said, "It's okay." And then he touched my shoulder and said, "Oh my God, I'm never washing the shoulder again." It's just so. I really had to imagine Marie right there, like William, like okay. And so
in all fairness, like when I met Brad Spiner,
oh yeah,
I was unable to speak. Like I may have just gone into a complete and utter like nerdgasm, right? Like I mean, because it's funny, right? I mean, these are regular people, fundamentally.
Right.
You know, they are who they are. But the characters have meant so much to us over the years.
Yeah. It's hard to see them as anything but even if you've seen them in other things, it's
still, I'm like, why is Data on Cheers? Right? Like,
or Night Court.
right? I mean, and it doesn't matter. Or like Catherine Janeway, why is she on Cheers?
Why is she in prison?
That one, right? Like,
clearly,
when did Janeway become Russian?
Holodeck simulation, and I got $23 to put on her books.
But I mean, it is, but it is really funny because even on this podcast where we talk a lot about like the impact that Trek has had on our lives, it's still not until I'm necessarily stood in front of one of these people that I'm like, the emotions just sort of come to the fore, and I'm over here like a relatively well-adjusted, rational human being.
I would say, yeah.
And intellectually, I know that this is just Brent Spiner.
Well, I had that a couple weeks ago when I'm standing in the middle of the Great Hall at the library, waiting for an event to start, and there's a bunch of congressmen streaming past for an event they're hosting, and then their special guest walks into the room, and it's Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Fair enough.
And I'm just like, I'm on duty, and there are people that are there for the event I'm working that are stopping him and asking him to get pictures, and I'm like, technically I could, but I don't feel like I can. It's more for me than being able to say I was in a room with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Walter Koenig walked in front of me, and like my ex is just like, you should talk to him, and I'm like, he's going to do things. How am I going to talk to Chekhov? And he's just looking at me like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I've done that with a few senators where it's like, I'll say yes, he's right there, but I'm not. Can't talk.
I mean, I've been known to make a wide berth around Mitch McConnell.
Same here.
So people watching who had,
and I've almost punched Ted Cruz 3 times.
To the two people that are watching left, what Trek actors would you like to meet at a Comic-Con or a Dragon Con?
Or anywhere.
Or anywhere, really. Yeah, exactly.
Like one thing I've been doing lately at the library is help be watchful for celebrities in town that might have a connection to the library, that we can have them come in and then share it on. Basically, we had Lizzo last year, which was a huge thing. Having her come in, play James Madison's Crystal Flute, and it caused basically all the library's social feeds to double in subscribers and everything, which was great for the library. Even though there was people that looked at it negatively, it was overall great. So, yes. Oh yeah, Colton, definitely.
Fair play. I got to tell you, like, I would be a blubbering mess.
If you
Sir Patrick Stewart will be in DC in October. We are trying to get him to stop by the library. He'll probably be more willing to go to the Shakespeare Library next door, but we'll try.
So
if you manage, I need to
go up to DC next month.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I'm coming to DC next month. Okay.
But like I because of me watching things, I've gotten at least one person invited that actually came, and I have a second person that has now been invited, and I'm leading on a third. So,
to be fair, my children are still very jealous, specifically Matthew.
Well, they now have a picture of him up on the wall. All right, so I got B. Dellen Hollis, who has a TikTok and Instagram of preparing meals from older cookbooks. I got him invited because he was going to be in town to promote his new cookbook,
Baking of Yesteryear.
Yes. And the library has a huge collection of cookbooks. And in fact, we just published, our publishing office just published a book on our cookbook collection. So it was absolutely perfect timing to have him come in and see the cookbooks and help promote his book and our book at the same time.
Yeah, Matthew refers to him as the Sibidim man.
Yes. And I got to meet him and give him a tour of the Jefferson building. Renee Elise Goldsberry, who played Angelica Schuyler in the first run of Hamilton, has also been on Girls Five Ever and Evil and Star Trek Enterprise and various other things, has now been invited to visit the library when she comes next week to perform at George Mason University.
Right.
Neil Patrick Harris has been hired by the Kennedy Center to run a production of Tick, Tick, Boom starting. Yeah. It will run in December to January, but he's going to be in town starting next month to hire the cast and get everything. And we have Jonathan Larson's personal papers in our collection at the library. Lin-Manuel stops by the library every time he's in town. And he personally went through Larson's papers when he was directing the movie version of Tick, Tick, Boom. So hopefully we'll get Neil Patrick Harris to stop by as well.
I mean, I gotta say, that's one of the greatest regrets of my time that I never got a chance to go. I didn't see that. I didn't see the cathedral.
But yeah, so Sir Patrick Stewart in October. We're trying. If I can, I that's more my friend Alicia who's trying to make that happen. But if it does,
I just need a post-it note with his signature.
Yeah, I'll figure out.
So,
but anyway,
we
are 5 minutes over the hour. We have certainly discussed a whole bunch of Lower Deck stuff. We've talked a lot about our fandoms. And I think we need to roll that beautiful bean of footage while we still have some dignity left.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not going to ever say it on the internet. Yeah, never.
I'm sorry. Wait. There was a shadow of a church.
Okay. What?
William has questionable
I didn't
ideas
catch
about
that
what he
one.
puts. William has questionable ideas about what he puts on the internet.
Oh, I remember that episode.
Uh-huh.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Wait. What?